Chief Robert Clark, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on Newsday. How feasible would it be for the courts to resolve all these litigations before inauguration? Because as we've seen, there's been a bit of tension when these CTCs are being filed, as we saw in River State yesterday with the candidate of the APC being slapped and having water thrown on him, all those sorts of skirmishes when the entrance was blocked towards the INEC office when they were trying to get their CTC. So in your opinion, is this something that's feasible to be done before the 29th swearing in?
Yes, to be honest with you, the law is very clear as to how many days will lapse between presentation of petitions, the hearing of petitions, and the determination of petitions. And I don't see anything wrong in that period. The period is for 180 days, and I believe that if there is sincerity amongst Nigerians, the period is okay, and things will have been done. But you know, in everything in Nigeria today, the Nigerian factor is always there. And the Nigerian factors, you and I, we Nigerians, we are the cause of all our problems. So if we are not Nigerians, whom we are, and we decide to do things in the normal way, 180 days is enough, and we have enough time to ourselves.
Well, but some people are saying, that considering the fact that the election was quite controversial, that nobody should be sworn in under such circumstances. We've seen cases in other African countries, for instance, Kenya, where election disputes are fast-tracked, and that is usually done before the swearing-in ceremony. So some people are saying that that might help douse the tension here in Nigeria. I don't know what your view is on that. Should there actually be a swearing-in before the election dispute is resolved? And then also, I'd like to know your position on calls for the Presidential Election Tribunal proceedings to be televised live. What's your take on that?
Could you speak up loudly a bit? I can't hear your two questions very well.
Okay, I talked about the fact that in some other African countries, Kenya, for instance, they were able to resolve their election dispute before the swearing-in ceremony. So some people are saying we should take a cue from that if an election is controversial, the controversial winner, so to speak, shouldn't be sworn in under such circumstances, that issues surrounding the election should be resolved before the swearing-in. What's your take on that?
Well, let me be honest with you. The Nigerian factor is not only the law, it is also the people. In other African countries, we do have skirmishes. Skirmishes are still going on in Kenya today, as I'm talking. Yesterday night I saw on television, we saw skirmishes. But let us look at one thing clear. The Nigerian constitution is the failure Nigeria has had for the past 23 years. This constitution that allows election to start and restricts an individual from being part of the election except he becomes a member of a political party is no good for this country. Whereas the law says every Nigerian has equal right to a vote, and that every vote of a Nigerian counts. However, the same constitution now says that to be able to present yourself as a candidate at an election, you must belong to a political party. Therefore, if you are not a member of a political party, you cannot contest an election. You can see the enormous power the constitution has given to a political party, and that is the bane of the problem we have today. You now find that any Nigerian who takes over a political party automatically takes control of governance. That is the number one principle. And now you find this do or die. Do or die becomes part of Nigerian system because the constitution allows you and I, who have been voted into power, to steal as much as we want, to do as much as we want, and no consequences arise. Therefore, every Nigerian wants power to be able to, take over power and deal with all enormous powers surrounding him. And, of course, the do or die principle comes in. Therefore, one has to look at the Constitution and see what we can do so that the element of this do and die one, the element of restriction of individuals into the governance of the country, and the tolerance of the people in relation to religion, in relation to ethnicity, are eroded from our, way of life. Until we remove these three things, we can never have it right in Nigeria. When we've had about 7 elections and none has been credible, let's be honest. If we have 5 more elections in 15 years' time, we will never make it. Because the element of being a Nigerian, the element of fighting, do or die, and taking over control of power, if not removed, we will, still get the same result. There will be confusion, there will be chaos.